But I'm a very straight to the deal kind of person, so like I never deal with people's niggatry at all. If they have any, like I'm very straight to the point. That reminds me. So as I've explained before, I drive buses, and this morning, um, this kid gets on my bus. Uh, I'm very cool with the kids. Like, not like I'm trying to be hip, but like I want to put this shit on my fucking speaker. Uh, I what's the word I'm looking for? Don't give a fuck. So when like people say shit or whatever, or like they talk or whatever, I really don't give a fuck what you're talking about. Anyway, he was talking, like for example, in the past, they, the kids on my bus, they're high school kids, right? So they like get on my bus, they talk a whole lot of shit, um, especially for people who haven't gone through anything. And I'm just like, I'm cool with it. They talk about, like they go to parties and shit, and people who are like, they're already dating and stuff in high school, and I was like, that's nothing new. It's just one of them things. They just talk about shit, and I respect the fact that they're going through life the way they're going through life. I don't judge people for shit like that. Just like how I went through life, it is what it is. Everybody's got a different path. Whoop, 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 whoop. Some people start smoking by the time they're in fucking 8th grade. Some people don't smoke until they're in their late 50s. Whatever. Just as long as you're being smart and being safe. I could care less what you do. But yeah, that's the type of vibe I give off. And I've had like small instances of interactions with them in the past, so they know I'm cool. So the kid, he be like, hey bus driver. I'd be like, yo, what's up? He said, what you think about school fights? I'm like, I gotta be honest, this is the exact answer I gave. I like shrugged my shoulders. I was like, it is what it is. Cause that's very much, cause I believe if you're gonna fight somebody, right? Like if you got some type of aggression or something towards somebody, and that shit is real, you should squash that beef. Like however you get it done, right? If you feel like you actually have to throw hands with this motherfucker, throw hands. If you feel like you need to say something to him, say something to him. I don't think that you should walk around scared, trying of conflict. So that's essentially what I told him. I was like, it is what it is, you know what I'm saying? You feel like you gotta fight somebody, I don't mind people throwing knuckles and shit. Wow, I fucking suck. Alright. So he was like, woo woo, you know what I'm saying? He started talking. I was like, yeah, I prefer if people, fought as opposed to like, pulling switches and like, shooting each other and shit. And he was like, he was like, and see, that's my thing is like, if I lose, I'm not afraid to take it. I was like, well, nigga. I was like, bro, you are so bold to be talking as somebody who lives in fucking North Chicago, of all places. Not to say shit don't go down in North Chicago, but I'm just like, North Chicago is the least problematic part of Chicago. Like, shit really does not happen deep around here. It used to. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying I know shit goes down. I'd be afraid of having to deal with that. I don't. I want to be a teacher one day, but not like a teacher like math or whatever, like a teacher of life. So it's my goal to one day be good enough at talking to people to know how to give them like proper advice, especially for like real life shit. Anyway, he said woo woo, you know what I'm saying? He's not fucking with whoever I could pick up that he was, is somebody he's not fucking with. And he was at the point where he was ready to throw hands. I was like, it is what it is. about losing, I said, like, if you're really worried about losing, you better learn how to box, you know what I'm saying? Type shit. That's just how I feel. Like, feel free to fight somebody, but don't be afraid of losing. Like, just accept that you might fight somebody who will whoop your ass. And he said, nah, he's like, so essentially, he was very adamant that he, no matter what, was either going to lose this fight and not let it go, or win this fight and take it too far. Essentially, that is essentially what he was talking about. And I had to tell him, I was like, look, if you ever at any point feel like you are gonna take it too far, or the situation's gonna go too far, and weapons start getting drawn, just let that shit go, because it's not worth it. But I don't really feel like that resonated with me, which was my problem. I was like, fuck! Being from actual Chicago, I used to take offense when I moved up here and people asked if I was talking about North Chicago. I told them Chicago, as in city of, or area code 773 or 312. That's what I'm saying. North Chicago is definitely the lightest work of all Chicago. But so anyway, I told him, I was like, yeah, if it ever gets to that point where it's like you think you need to start drawing weapons and shit like that, like, bro, just leave it alone. Because it's so not worth it. Like, I get these niggas want to be hard. Excuse me. These niggas want to have a story, right? They want to be hard. They want to live out the fantasy that they hear in rap. Like, you know what I'm saying? Because a lot of that shit is fantastical. Like, in real life, in real situations, you don't get to brag about being, you know, the hardest person. Because being that hard a lot of the times is what gets you shot. Like, that's what ends up putting you in a position where you can't tell that story. And it's all nice and fun to be, you know, the person that made it out, but like, for every one person that makes it out, it's 100 motherfuckers that don't. So he wasn't hearing me. Little kid wasn't hearing me, bro. And I was just like, there were so many things I wanted to say. There are so many, like, things I wanted to give as advice, like, you know, it's never worth it to risk your life or someone else's, because, like, death is something you can't come back from. Beef is never worth, you know, sacrificing your future. Like, even if you win and shit, now you got that on your record, people will look at that. You won't get the job that you want, you won't get the money that you want to make, and you'll have to turn to the streets, and the streets is way more brutal than a fucking high school beef. Like, there were so many things I wanted to say, but I start working at I wake up at 3 o'clock in the fucking morning, and I have to start work at like 5:30. So I off the jump, like, I am not prepared for an in-depth conversation, like a deep conversation about how to guide yourself down the correct path in life. So I ultimately ended with the remark, like, not verbatim, but essentially, like, summarized. I basically said, in similar words, you have to trust yourself. You have to, you know, you have to listen to. I didn't say, like, listen to your inner voice, but I was like, you have to trust yourself, and you have to make the decision that you think is best for you. When I said that, I have this thing. What time do I go to bed? I go to bed like I don't go to bed, I pass out. And I'll wake up on time. And that's how life is going for me right now. I wake up at 3 a.m. I don't know why. I just do. I wake up like my alarm is set for 4. I don't technically have to be up until 4 o'clock, but I cannot sleep past 3 a.m. Like I can try. I'll sit there. I'll lay down in my bed with my eyes closed, but I will not fall asleep after 3 a.m. I'm awake. Uh, but I usually end up sleeping at some like around 11 when I'm being healthy, and when I'm not, I'll usually end up falling asleep at like 12:30 or something. So anyway, so that's basically to say I was not ready for an in-depth conversation about how to guide yourself morally down a path of conflict. So I ultimately ended with you got to trust yourself. You got to do what you think is best for you. And after I said that, I have this thing. I have this kind of I don't want to make it sound mystical because it's really not. But you know how it's like when the air in the room changes? Like, I don't know, um, you walk into a room and you can immediately tell if people were talking about you. Or you walk into a room and you can like sense the tension. I'm really good at that. So like when I said that, when I was like, you got to trust yourself. You got to do what's best. You got to do what's best for yourself. I felt the air kind of change in the conversation, like in a good way. I don't think I said the wrong thing. I definitely didn't say what I wanted to say, but I don't think I said the wrong thing.